relationship to be able to help these guys in the sales end and so on. So let's get to it. All right, this is probably the strongest part of the branch right now is the depot part. So I really I think I'm fortunate that I worked in the store, right? Because I kind of had a little head start on who to talk to, what the impact is, what depot looks for. I had a lot of interactions, 48 interactions. I did a, what do they call, road show. I talked to a lot more people than I anticipated, okay? So I'll get into that a little more. I have this in my team. Selling also, I put the actual amount of hours. Some people are kind of making me work with calendars and hours. This is broken down, to, 48 hours for 20 store visits and 8 hours for coaching lead generation, and it's pretty detailed. Same thing with selling, probably even more so because it's a big part of where we got to get to. I think another thing to look at besides the lead to demo is issuing to demo. Okay, so lead to demo is how well we can tell the store associates, train them, educate them. And then issuing to demo is how I'm going to work with our call center. As DMOD, we all have a responsibility to, find out, are they generating excitement when they set an appointment? And what's our issue to presentation, okay? So capacity's 2 in September. We put another guy on board. He should start at the end of the month. Huh? I know. So the arrow gave it away. So furnish and install. I'll get further into it and show some of the time that I've allocated to that. I think 68 hours, 27 hours. But you can see really, because we're kind of retooling in Memphis, that the furnish is really going to be determined by starting to put everything into production. Okay, getting it through production into ordering or logistics. So that's going to be a real focus. And installation is going to be a focus. Because we really have nothing, we're going to install $50,000. That's not a lot of installation revenue, but it's coming, right? So my focus is really on the future as far as working with Randy, hiring, recruiting, training, selecting, training, and so on. So the capacity here is not good. Right now we have one installer out there that's sort of part-time. Warehouse, there's been a job sitting there. Comms is fine. I understand the whole communication. Customer just wants to hear from you, right? Regardless of whether they're happy, sad, they're just really glad to hear from you. So big green. So you can see the interactions here, September to October. And again, I have everything broken down, how many store managers, how many district managers, SASMs, all the way down to the millwork associates, the flooring associates. All that's planned out. What's the sneeze? All that's planned out in my visits and what I plan on doing as far as interactions. Sales team also, we're doubling their interactions. That's something I kind of took on myself, and I've really got to delegate a lot of that to them too. So that's where we're going there. All right, so this is my Bible, right? This is the report that we used to have on Mondays in the store, which tells me really every store, what the plan is, what our internal plan is, gross sales, net sales, Home Depot versus plan, HDI versus plan, leads, demos, sales. It really gives me all the direction that I need to really manage, to get it to pipeline, to get it to installation. And then it tells me, ultimately when I could focus a little more, once we get the volume going, I could focus on what store we have to get volume to. Because it's nice to meet plan overall, but it's even nicer to start being intentful, to have the intent on what store we want to sell out of. So, and I just put some stuff on September there. I pull this stuff out of Salesforce. You might see a slight difference because this is really half the date. It's probably 8 or 12 more that would duplicate. Salesforce might see a little more. I weed that stuff out just so I could do that. And here's the improvement area, right? The opportunity, lead to sale, that should be 14%. And that number is, for years in this kind of industry, you should really be selling 14% of the raw leads. So, and lead to demo, I did this with these guys before. We were at like 70, 80%. Because with a Home Depot lead, if you treat it well, you're going to go out there and present it. So I think we have a long way to go to do that. And there's different areas to work on. One is the stores, and the other is internally with our admin people. So you guys can ask me questions if you want. I'm done. So again, mostly everything is defend, because while we're not really where we need to be, I'm probably 51% of where I had anticipated, right? So if we can get a little over half of what I want, that puts us in defend mode, meaning we're heading in the right direction. So I got 2 guys and a third coming on the end of the month. I'm out of stock out of 2 stores. Here's the 33% stock and out 66 that we have to work on for installation.
So you have 1 crew? Or 1?
I have 1 crew, but I share it. So it's not, you know what I mean? So it's not even, I got to get to 8 jobs a month, 2 a week. And right now, maybe he could do 2 a month or 3 a month, depending on the location. So I have to hire 3 people to be able to have that, you know.
We should probably work together. I probably can help you with the capacity situation.
Really?
Yeah, we have some really good leads out of that market from our pro area of the business.
Okay.
And we're at capacity for the east side of the business, but we did get some. So I'll have my RPM just share that information with you. We did get some leads on interior capacity.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a huge head start. Because like I said,
What market is it?
Memphis.
And how do you have 2 out of stocks there on sales, but how do you determine when you need to add a body? Like, is it once your current sales consultants are at, running 10 appointments a week, and then that's when you have the need to add?
It's really twofold. The first thing is the real business model is having 1 designer for every 2 stores. And then, subsequent to that, you have to have enough leads. You're either always chasing, leads, or you're always chasing salespeople until you can level it out and get to 100 a half per store. So, capacity to meet $166,000 a month, I need these 5 to cover 10 stores.
Your sales consultants, are they paid commission only, or
We have 2 plans. We have a base plus commission, and we also have a straight commission, and a bonus structure for both of those. Mm-hmm. Yep. So my philosophy is a commission only is typically more hungry, but that's just me. And nowadays, there's a lot of other areas people can go get jobs. So a way to give them an incentive is to make sure that they have gas money and they can pay some bills. And so it doesn't really matter what I want. It matters what they want.
Okay.
So again, I'm not great with technology, so I don't have wonderful pictures of my designers or anything. But this young man, Kelby Corder, he really wants to contribute more to the household. He's only been here for a month. The biggest thing about him, as far as store goals, is he wants to be like the guy. He wants to be the go-to guy. I've already seen, he only visited the stores, South Haven and Olive Branch. He lives in that area. Maybe 2 or 3 store visits. And yesterday I got him 2 appointments out of that market, and he has 1 today. So he said, "You got me so close to my house." I said, "Well, you work the stores by your house. That's what's going to happen." So while they both run all the stores. He saw the benefit, and I saw the benefit of just store visits. And the bottom line is, he said, boy, they really just need to know what we do. And you said, you think? So he likes to do that. So month. Yeah. So, and that just shows what they want to do. The biggest thing is he wants to contribute to the household. So he's got a partner that I think is in the medical field and does very, very well. And I think he wants to be able to do that too, to be a part of that. Live a better life too. Then I have another fellow, Joey. Also, he's a more seasoned rep, kind of like me. It's a nice way of saying older and done this for a while. And he likes the culture of the company. He likes to really, he's always checking the chats, and it's kind of new to him. So he likes that. He wants to make a good living and wants to make the money too, but he also enjoys how we do what we do. And there's just the numbers. People want to be recognized, they want to be coached, stuff like that. But I just put some numbers in here for what his goals are. He likes to learn new sales, new products, and that being part of a team is where you can see he's like nosy. He looks and he sees what everyone does in the chats, and he looks at the marketing group and he sees the guy. I think that's really important, to want to be part of that culture.
So Joey should be leading in self-gens, because he likes the connectivity to the store, he likes the culture, and he likes to be a part of the bigger picture.
I think they both should.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't mean to discount what you're saying, right? Because Kelby wants to be the go-to guy. That didn't come across the right way.
I get you.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just like the plan I have, right? You're right. Anything else you can help me with, I am open. You can tell I'm like polar opposite of him, right? He's, and actually it winds up, it does very well. I'm like, let me hit the buttons, Will. Slow down. Do this, do that.
Put your hand on my shoulder.
Right, so, anyway. All right, so this is a big part for me as far as my learning, right? Because I know how this goes, but the furnish part is really understanding, like you were talking about, pretty much what goes into the job to get it through production. That the sales paperwork has to be right, the installation paperwork, it has to be uploaded. Everything needs to be in order. Payment has to be processed. Like I know all the steps here, because I've done this before. But now it's all done, in a very rigid, formal process that, I don't have to rely on my intuition to remember everything, but that's kind of where I'm learning now. And having the oversight I can handle, but it still means, these functions never go away. They never go away. And you can see really, as long as things keep going up, we could stay in defend mode, until we meet all our project or all our planning, right? I think it's planning. Once we meet all our plans, we can go to green. So this too is a place, there's not much to go over with these numbers. I installed 23 last month, 50 this month. The key to this is really what I've learned from Randy, right? Aside from recruiting and selecting and training, which is what we have to focus on, what we learn is how do we go to a logistics meeting, the installation's scheduled, he's got the people, the capacity, we talk about capacity, and then the work begins. Even though it's 27 hours, I got about 15 in recruiting, 10 going through resumes, 5 doing interviews. But the rest is really making sure the paperwork for the job is right. Going over, having a pre-install meeting with the installer, making sure we have the comms with hey, how'd it go? It's your first day. They did a containment area. All the things that are necessary. Because again, the installer is the last person the customer sees. They forget the salesman, right? So if you're prepared for the install and you're prepared really to get this done right, your services go down, the customer's a lot more happy. And I'm not going to say everything goes flawless, but the more you prepare for that, the more you go over the notes that are involved from the measure tech, the more you go over the blueprints and discuss that with the installer, he's ready, he'll get materials if he needs it. It's all a matter of planning, I think. And this is part that I'm learning, because my installers used to measure, order it, go install it. They'd send me a completion certificate. Well, it's not the way it's done here. This is a bigger company, So it really means I have to learn and follow that process and make sure it's done the right way. So. And then same with service and warranty. I had 3 services. We got rid of 1. I have 2 now. But it's the same thing we talked about care tickets, right? We have a method of collecting data that says, all right, well, the factory short shipped, the reasons, we talked about the reasons we have services. We dropped the door or the sales, there was some paperwork we didn't go over well enough. But this really can make the whole house of cards fall, right? Because you could have a great relationship with the stores and you can get leads and and you work at that for months. And then I know what it's like to be in a store in specialty. I know what it's like to work with the installations and the COS and when something goes wrong. And I was the person who sold somebody flooring and set a lead for water heaters and the plumbing company didn't show up. I see that customer every Saturday. So that's what I have to kind of impart to my designers as well as some of the guys that I work with, right? To know that to us they're leads or they're sheets of paper or they're appointments, but to the associates, they're relationships with these people. And they come in all the time. And if you put them on the spot, they're not going to help you. So the customer has to have an amazing experience. Whether they buy or not doesn't matter. I mean, it does. Don't get me wrong. They got to buy. But it's the experience that they have that they come back and report on. And service is key. It's just part of the installation. It's part of the circle. Because that's what brings you right back to getting in the stores and generating leads and the depot portion. So, and it gets planning. So all the back end, I have a manufacturing background. I just don't like it. I don't like the back end. I like the sale, And he likes the back end of the business. And he'll call and say, do me a favor, talk to one of my designers, see what happened on their demo. And I'll say, hey, Will, can you do me a favor? Help me process this invoice so I can pay an installer. And that's what we do. So it's teamwork, absolutely. And I do that with other ones. I don't just do it with Will. But we're so opposite.
That's called delegating, not teamwork.
Okay, yes, you're right, Andrew.
That's your second, you're right.
Right. So I'm working right now. Right now, I'm not in charge of any of the checkpoint meetings. I probably have the biggest involvement of sales. I just took the different meetings, the checkpoints that I've made some improvement in, which again will help my people, help the company. Being able to clarify opportunities in staff, making sure we can combine those other meetings in staff so we don't have to have 10 meetings a week. Slowly get to the point where a staff meeting is, where we are, where we want to go, how are we going to get there? Pretty basic stuff. The admin, this is really where I'm going to go out and misspell something. And right? It gives you an idea of how good I am in the administrative department. Oh, well, I missed the first one. You're right again. So, and you ride too, so how bad could it be? But this is really where the call center and developing protocol and procedures, that's really where that comes in. What we're all going to handle, and then outline the meetings, which I think you spoke to about what we're going to do as far as the outlines. Again, the places I have to learn the most, the logistics, increased understanding of cycle time, projected install dates, capacity, calendars. Between the fellows I work with and the edict from above, it all seems to be coming together. So, and here are just, my main action items, right? Connectivity and lead generation, coach, teach, train, never ends. Time management, mastery of process. This is where I'm going to catch up with myself from all the selling we're going to do. And then this is the biggest plan we have to make right now before it turns into a problem. So those are all the action items.